Hey, it's the final countdown. I told him it's Stevie, it's DC. Hope everybody's having a great day as we're coming down a stretch here in Major League Baseball. We got some day games. That's kind of nice to see. We got 10 game slate tonight. Stevie's on the lookout for the Dodgers lineup. And if you haven't already joined Premium, I mean, what the hell are you waiting for? You've been watching a whole year. You better be plus money, better be plus EV after getting the insight you got from Run Pure. We got members winning nightly, and just everything's great here. NFL, the cores, the playbook, everything. Our guys give you their best plays of the week in their cores. The playbook gives you an outline. And in baseball, DC's doing the playbook a lot. Stevie's doing a lot of work back there too. Every sport covered. We got MMA, we got golf, we got even hockey. My boy Matty Ice and the guys over there doing hockey too, and that's coming back in a few weeks. So last thing I'll tell you to do, please like and subscribe, and that'll be wonderful. And that'll make our lives wonderful today. Stevie, this is the first time I've talked to you since you met the boys in Philly. How'd that go? Who'd you meet with?
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. JSU was there, Big T was there, AP. We kind of hung out all weekend, had a couple meals together, sweat the games on Friday night, watched some college football on Saturday, and then watched basically the entire main slate of the NFL on Sunday. It was a fun weekend. Met a couple members too. The man was there, and Ben, which I think his screen name is Minnesota Nice Cards. Super, super nice guys. Had a bunch of drinks with them. That was fun. I know that Hoop and AP had good finishes on Friday, top 11, I think, for both of them. So that was cool with some late runs by the Royals, of course, with AP playing the Royals. But yeah, overall a great weekend, awesome experience. Hopefully can do it again soon.
All right. That was a great breakdown. I mean, just completely vanilla. Did anybody get hammered together? Were there any
I,
fights?
I was
How
gonna
did
I
you
was gonna
get there?
say I've been to a number of live finals. I don't know if I could survive the live final the weekend of opening NFL Sunday, right? Like Friday night, I'm going after it. Saturday, and then you got to end it with Sunday. Like
Yeah,
come
well,
Sunday night, I just might be just like dead in the gutter somewhere.
we all
So I
got
don't
in
see.
Thursday afternoon too, so we went
Yeah,
out to watch the Thursday night game, the
yeah.
Cowboys game. So yeah, I mean it was a long weekend of drinking. AP and I went at it on Saturday at the Phillies game. Drink for drink. He almost caught a foul ball, which
You
was
did?
cool. AP, the
Oh,
guy behind him in like the row right behind us wrestled it away from AP. So that yeah,
what?
he was talking about how he hadn't been to a baseball game in a while. And top of the first, like 8 pitches in, a foul ball comes right at us, and he's like, "Oh shit, here it comes!" So that was fun. We had Big T, bring like a big backpack and his laptop into the Phillies game and get stopped by security because he wanted to make NASCAR lineups. That was great. Um, we did a Brazilian steakhouse. I think it was JSU's first time there, just because he got like a huge plate of like rice. Which is definitely a no-no at a Brazilian steakhouse. You just want meat only. The salad bar is a distraction there. So that was fun though. I mean, overall, it was a great weekend. Definitely got hammered a couple nights, but actually felt fine on Sunday morning just because I don't know, adrenaline or something. I don't know, but great time.
Was it almost a fight? Was it almost a fight between AP and that guy?
No, 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 no. It was just like it was behind AP, so he had to reach back, and I think it was like a one hand versus two hands scenario for that. The only fight I saw was in the 7-Eleven across the street. The owner was fighting a guy who was trying to steal like a free Slurpee or something. The hotel that we stayed in, if you've ever been to Philly, not great neighborhoods downtown. So interesting area for sure.
I like the fights. That's what I'm all about. Dudes getting beat up because of Slurpees and stuff. This is
Yeah,
wonderful.
full on fist
Um,
fight at like 10 a.m. at the 7-Eleven.
I got called out by Stevie Boynton today. My idea for years has been to lower the regular season in baseball to 100 games, but just to get crazy, I said 81 games. And my God, why do you guys freak out? There's 162 is too long, dude. They play the opening day on the same day as the Final Four. Come on, Stevie, you and me, we're college basketball guys. It's the championship game. They need to start in May and get done around now. That would be like the playoffs need to be done now. They're not going to do it. There's not enough money, but the perfect schedule is 100 games.
This is just you wanting September off. You want to add it to your Mondays off so you don't have to.
No, he just wants to beat off the NFL for a month.
That's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah. I'm with you. That's a horrible thing. Listen, you're not going to find me advocating for fewer sports or fewer games, right?
Yeah.
Give me all the games. Give me all the action. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, as like a college basketball and MLB guy, the schedule around the year just fits so perfectly. This ends. I've got 2 weeks, to ramp up for college basketball. That ends like right around opening day. Perfect spot for me here.
But I never understood. Let's start the season when the championship game is going on. It just drives me nuts. I can't stand it. Like, start it the next day. I don't care about your 100 years of tradition. The NCAA finals are the night that you want that happening. What a joke. MLB playoffs. Let's get into that too. Then we can get into this 10-game slate. DC said he didn't want to share any personal stories because he didn't need a therapy session. That's fine, DC. I mean, I need one, but we don't have enough time for this. So we'll just move on.
I need one too. I just don't want it to happen live on air.
There's a free show, Holden.
Real quick.
At least make a members only.
Can we talk about the playoffs here for a second? Tampa Bay is cruising to their division title. Mm-hmm. Houston, the same thing, and the White Sox, the same thing, right? So we're down to Toronto, who's made a major surge. They've won 8 of 10. They won again today. Bichette hit his 25th. And then the Yankees are tied with the Red Sox, and Seattle's still there 3 games back, and Oakland is 3.5 games back. So I wonder, just from this, do you guys target games maybe a little bit more or shy away from games where teams aren't in it and there's just a bunch of jabronis going in there, or does that not matter whatsoever?
Yeah, I definitely like targeting teams that are completely out of it, targeting their bullpens, right? We've talked about that for a while these last month or two. Some teams, that aren't in it. Most of them didn't have good bullpens to begin with. Let's be honest. That's kind of a luxury. At this point in MLB, like, teams are struggling to find 5 good starting pitchers. So, I like to target teams that are out of it in terms of their bullpen. And then I will say the nice thing about baseball, it's not quite the same as you get to the last couple of weeks of the NBA regular season. It's like even the guys that are starting could potentially just play 15, 20 minutes. In baseball, no matter the state of your team, most players that start the game will finish it, right? It's pretty rare to see 4 or 5 guys hitters subbed out in any game for baseball. And these guys are obviously, you're either playing for your next contract or you're playing to try to establish yourself in the league. So I certainly think you want to keep track of it, but for the most part, if you're in the lineup, I kind of assume you're going to be good to go and giving it your best effort for the most part.
Stevie?
Yeah, I agree with him. I think especially on this slate, there's a bunch of shitty teams with bad bullpens that we're going to target. I think that's a big thing coming down the stretch. These teams that are out of it are trying to see who's going to be on their roster next year, and they're going to throw out some arms in the bullpen that probably won't be. So I think that we can take advantage there. And then, for the bats, these teams need to win. I think the AL wild card is super interesting. Love that Toronto is making a run just because they're such an exciting team. I was actually pulling up the run differentials, and they're at plus 175. The Yankees are at plus 33. I mean, that's a huge disparity there. Seattle actually just came back and tied the game with Boston. That's a massive series happening out west this week. But I mean, with 5 teams within 3 games, it should be a really fun last 2-3 weeks of the season for both of the wild cards there. National League, it's basically who wants to win it. The Reds, the Phillies, the Mets, the Padres are all tanking right now, which is kind of put St. Louis back in the picture. I kind of selfishly hope the Reds make it just for, personal bets reasons. But it'll be interesting down the stretch for sure.
Dude, that Mets Cardinals game last night was wild.
Yeah, it was
so much fun. DC, the Dodgers and the Giants. Want to get your take on the Dodgers and the Giants. And yeah, Milwaukee is running away. Atlanta with 76 wins. I guess Philadelphia is kind of still in the mix. It would take a real Atlanta collapse, and I'm not buying into anything the Mets are doing. San Francisco and the Dodgers. It's still the Dodgers, right? They're still going to make the deeper run.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the National League race is interesting too. Obviously, one of the San Francisco or the Dodgers will get that first wild card spot, but beyond that, Cardinals, Reds, Padres, Phillies, Mets, I think all have at least some chance, right? And Phillies and Mets maybe a little bit less so, but yeah, should be fun to see down the stretch. I personally think when we get to the playoffs, the Dodgers are the better team than the San Francisco Giants, but a lot of people think that that's not some hot take there, especially if the Dodgers can get healthy, right? Get everybody ready to go by the end of the regular season, which I think they might, right? It seems like Clayton Kershaw is kind of on his way back. So I think the Dodgers potentially might be kind of peaking here at the right time, right? Getting ready to go right as the season closes and getting ready for that playoff run. So they're my pick right now to take it all, but a lot of baseball to be played still.
The only thing I'll say, if they're in that wild card game, I mean, they'll throw Scherzer probably, but that's no fun. You don't want to have to play in a one and done. Any kind of weird stuff can happen. I love the Giants too. I just think once you get into a series with the Dodgers, they have 4 number ones they can roll out there. And the other thing is they rested Kershaw for the last 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Like you saw how dominating he was in the playoffs last year after a very shortened season. I think we're going to see that again out of Kershaw. The guy's still one of the best pitchers when his back isn't hurting him.
Yeah, Dodgers, Brewers, if that matchup happens, will be super interesting just because the Brewers can match up with them starting pitcher for starting pitcher, especially with Peralta coming back. He looked real good yesterday, and that's a huge key for them. You might get a bunch of 4-2 games in the playoffs, but they'll at least be exciting. I mean, the Brewers are at 89 wins. They're right on the tail of the Dodgers and the Giants right now, kind of out of nowhere. And I think you can still get them at 10-1. At some books to win it all. So, if you think that they can hit enough or at all, it's just a tough road going through the Dodgers, obviously.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into the slate here. Before we do, we got to talk a little bit of weather. DC, Stevie, I'm a little concerned about what's going on in Atlanta. We might have some little rain in the beginning, and that might pick up a little bit. Mid-Atlantic not looking great. Baltimore, Philly, and the Mets not quite as concerned about those. DC, any concerns about the weather tonight?
Yeah, for me right now, it's just more kind of we just have to keep an eye on it during this last hour before lock. If you're making lineups right now, I would kind of assume these games are going to play, and then make the adjustment if you need to, in those last 5 or 10 minutes. And so we'll keep an eye on the weather. But right now, I do think these games will all play.
Okay, Stevie, anything?
I'm concerned about Atlanta. I think as of now, I'm not planning on playing that. But like you said, we still have 45 minutes to decide. But as of now, I'm out on Atlanta unless something changes.
Okay. And the Dodgers lineup is out. So you ready to talk about it here? Because you said everybody's going to be on the Dodgers tonight against Merrill Kelly. They're going with their A-plus lineup. Well, Lux is in there. Betts, Muncy, Turner, Seager, Turner, Smith, Bellinger, Lux, and Urias. I mean, if you're stacking the Dodgers tonight, it'll be popular, but this lineup.
I'm not sure how popular they'll be overall. I know that all the guys here at RPS are on them, which is why I think it's a big spot for us, because I think that we're going to be well over the field on Dodgers.
On the Doyers this evening. Okay, yeah. DC, let's do it. Let's start with pitching, man. Both sites, if you want, we can do both sites. We can do one site, but on a 10-game slate, where are you starting as your overall SP1 on this Wednesday night?
Some pretty good options, I think, at SP1. I mean, you have Julio Urias for the Dodgers as the top price guy at 10.5K against the Diamondbacks. Hard to argue with that, even if he hasn't been quite as good in the, in second half overall. He's been pretty damn good over his last 3 or 4 starts. So I think he's probably number 1 for me. If I'm just talking raw fantasy points, I'm not sure I want to pay the 10.5K. And I also think he'll be very popular, right? Because we know people like the Dodgers offense. Huge favorite here in this game against the Diamondbacks. So, I think that's the first question mark. Listen, if you can fit him, I think that's a good way to go. I really like Tyler McGill for the Mets. I talked a lot about him. That was last Friday. That was the day of the final, right, Stevie?
Yep.
And yeah,
we talked about him all day too. We just didn't end up on him.
Yeah, I was trying to talk to some of the I won't name names, but some of the guys in the live final. I was trying to convince them on Tyler McGill, who just smashed some of the other starters that day that were more popular than him. I just think he's really good. I mean, the same underlying metrics that put me on him last Friday, they're even more true now after, maybe his best start of the year last time out against the Yankees. Gets to pitch at home where he's been better. Most of the Mets pitchers are much better at home. You see that in some of the pitchers' parks. It seems like those guys just get very, very comfortable in their home parks. McGill seems like another one of those guys for the Mets. So I really like him at 9,200. I still think his ownership will be, I wouldn't say low, but he's just not that big of a name quite yet.
Lower than the guys in that range, I think.
Yeah, 9,200. I think people might end up looking elsewhere. So I really like him. I think you could absolutely use him as an SP1 over Julio Urias if you want to. I assume some people go to Sean Manaya. I certainly like McGill better there, so I won't be going to Manaya at 9,800. If that Braves game weather, if it clears up, and I did just look at it because, you're saying you were concerned, Steve, obviously alarmed me a little bit. And yeah, I thought it was going to kind of dry out quicker than that. So it does look like it is going to dry out as the night goes on, but maybe not in time. And I do think the game, probably at this point, looks like it might start in delay, which always makes me nervous. So we'll have to see with that. But I do like Huascar Ynoa against the Rockies if that weather does clear up in time where we feel comfortable with it. And then the final guy I'm on, I've been on this guy a bunch over the last month, Ranger Suarez for the Philadelphia Phillies, big ground ball guy who can whose strikeouts have been up a little bit. And I've just been impressed watching him pitch for the most part. Gets that Chicago Cubs team that isn't any good. He's at home in Philly. Some weather concerns there, right? I think in Philly. Yeah. So probably going to be fine, but just keep an eye on that. We'll discuss it again before we get out the air. But yeah, Ranger Suarez, Tyler McGill, I think probably where I'm leaning right now.
All right. Hey, Stevie, it looks like McGill's going to be very, very popular tonight. Are you rolling with him? And who are your options tonight at pitcher, SP1, SP2, and even on FanDuel, where I think tonight's top prize is like $100. So congratulations, FanDuel. You guys just kicking ass on these prize pools.
Yeah. McGill, his price is actually really good on FanDuel. He's 7.8. So I think that he's my priority play over on FanDuel. I'm with DC on those three guys. Urias, lowest expected year on the slate. You don't get that 100+ pitch upside that you usually get with the 10K plus guys, but he's only given up 5 runs in the last 7 starts. Good K upside. I think he's a super safe SP1 here. One thing to add on to McGill is that the Cardinals put out the super right-handed heavy lineup. And as we know, he's struggled a bit with the lefties, but he's been pretty dominant against right-handed bats. And I think he gets 7 of them tonight. So I think the lineup is an upgrade for McGill for sure. One guy in between McGill and Suarez, I am on Suarez too. I think that's a great price. I've been playing him for about 2 months now. Is Cal Quantrill. He's at 8.4 here. Maybe a little expensive for him, but I'm playing tournaments. I don't think that he'll be owned at all. It's a price point that makes me a bit uncomfortable, but I'm buying the talent. 6+ innings pitched in 9 of his last 10 starts. So you kind of get elite duration on a slate without a bunch of guys who, are locked into 100+ pitches if they're pitching well. So I think that he's definitely in play. And then one punt guy that we've used a couple times here at Run Pure, Carlos Hernandez from the Royals. He's had usable starts, in 6 of his last 7. He's at 5K here. He's too cheap, even in a matchup that isn't really comfortable after Oakland just shit all over Jackson Kowar last night. But, I think he comes in pretty low owned here, and he lets you play, like Dodgers and Yankees, and 6 of his last 7 starts, you would use his score at that price. And I do like his stuff a bit. So those are the 5 guys that I'll be playing in my 20 lineups: Urias, McGill, Quantrill, Ranger Suarez, and Hernandez.
So who's the guy on FanDuel then that you'll have the most exposure to then?
McGill, because he's
McGill.
7-8 on FanDuel, so I think he's priced a bit down over there.
Who's your guy, DC, on FanDuel? Like, who's the guy you're rolling out there? Is there two of them tonight?
Yeah, I'm going with McGill on both sites, especially FanDuel. He'll be very popular, I'm sure, but I still think worth it. And I do think ownership will be at least a little bit spread out on this slate. You know, I don't know, McGill maybe I would guess 25 to 35% on DraftKings, probably a little higher on, or a little lower rather on FanDuel with the one pitcher site, but feel confident enough in him to roll him out there anyway, despite relatively high ownership.
All right, I like it. If you guys, if the members have any questions, if you got any questions, throw them in the premium chat. Joe, why am I so against FanDuel? Every contributor slays FanDuel. I still win. Actually, I'm better on FanDuel in football, but did you see the prizes? I mean, seriously, what are they offering today, Joe? They just don't give a shit about DFS, and that's what bothers me. So the sports book making them a ton of money, and they just decided to say punt at anything, but that's not NFL. They just punted it. That's why I don't like FanDuel. It pisses me off, man. It's like try a little bit at it. They're not even trying now that the season has come to an end. So it just frustrates me. All right, let's get to premium, right? Sign up for it, blah blah blah. Hit the like button and then the subscribe button, and we would love that. That would make us feel so good today. Very relaxed and happy. DC, I just saw your cores here. I think we should go game by game, but you want to talk about a team that you really like this evening that's going up against the Cardinals? Maybe discuss that. Not the exact core because it's not a premium show, but what do you like about the Mets tonight?
Yeah, primarily that they're going up against John Lester, who I love taking some right-handed power against, who I love taking speed against. And the Mets have both of it at the top of that lineup: VR, Lindor, Baez, Alonso. I get a lot less interested in the lineup after those four guys, but I really like all four of those guys against Lester. Good hitting weather in New York, hot, humid, wind out to left center field, which, given that Citi Field is kind of a relatively tough place to go deep in general, I think that weather could prove beneficial to those Mets guys. Bad Cardinals bullpen. I know the Cardinals have been playing better recently in general, but yeah, I like the Mets here. McGill, we talked about him, and I like this offense too. I know Lester, you know, he survives more starts than it seems like he should, but yeah, I'm still I'm still feeling good going against him. So I like the Mets quite a bit.
Love to hear that DC's on the Mets. I'm on them too. Conforto's starting to heat up a bit finally after sucking ass all year. It just really extends that lineup. And DC and I have been talking all season, you know, when these 6-7 hitters can give you something for a couple weeks at a time, you ride it. It really extends the lineup, helps it turn over. Baez and Lindor obviously hot. You know, we've seen Lester just completely implode a lot this season. He hasn't done it in the last couple starts. I don't think that, you know, something has drastically changed. You know, I think that it's coming, and I think this is a good spot for the Mets here. So yeah, they're one of my top stacks.
Nothing's changing for Lester, right?
No.
Like, he's not developing new pitches. He's not gaining velocity. He just has had, you know, 3-4 starts here where he's survived. But I'm not one to use the term "due" for a blow up. But if I were to use that term, if I were to think that was a thing, he would fit the bill very well, I think. So
yeah, for sure.
I like the Mets here.
I'm not sure how many people will be on him too, which always helps.
Yeah, people don't like going to Citi Field, right? In general, you see that games there for the most part be pretty low owned.
Yeah.
Wow, 17 dislikes. I just checked out the actual free chat. 17 dislikes today. Congratulations. You still have not set the record though. So I think the record was with JT. Got to 23. So you guys are obviously slacking.
We can lower the quality of the show even further.
Yeah.
I mean, if we need to.
I don't know if you want to go there, DC.
Yeah, we try.
You don't want to be a part of that, buddy.
I see.
Because it can go far down. Hit the like button. Be great. The 17 of you that hit the dislike button, whatever. I got no hate for you. Good job. Good job. You got your revenge. So let's go game by game here. And if you got any questions in the premium chat, we'll take your questions. No doubt about that. Cubs and Philly. Is there a one-off here, Stevie, that we can look at in this game? I mean, is it always just going to be Bryce Harper and anyone else you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, so I was on Philly last night. Odubel leads off with the bomb. They had runners on, it seemed like the entire game. I think they grounded into 5 double plays last night. It's a team like we've been talking about that needs to win, facing a team, that is not in it with the bad bullpen. So I don't hate the Phillies here. They didn't make my top 5 stacks. But yeah, I don't hate the Phillies today.
No. How about you, DC? Anything from this game, even a one-off?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Bryce Harper against Alec Mills. He's just been so hot over this last couple months. You look at the game log, I mean, it's just you're getting 10 plus fantasy points pretty much every time out. And of course, it's Bryce Harper. So you got the ceiling for an enormous game anytime he steps on the field. So I do think he's one of the top plays overall on the board. Yesterday I talked about Odubel Herrera. I liked him. He was just so expensive. Went down in price a little bit, 4,600. So yeah, I think he's in play. But I mean, to me, Harper clearly leads the way for this Phillies team. I do think he's one of the best one-offs on the slate. And then obviously we talked about Suarez. I like him, but no Cubs for me. Suarez gets a ton of ground balls. So even if Ranger Suarez has a bad game and the Cubs get to him, probably going to be walks and singles and doubles that do it, which might not get you there for DFS anyway. So Cubs a full fade for me. And then, if you can afford Bryce Harper, and fit him in with your stack or whatever it may be, get him in there.
All right, let's move on to the next game. DC, Yankees and Orioles. Yankees are always popular, and they're going up against John Means. I don't like attacking Means anymore, to be honest with you. But the bullpen is going to be out there again too. So, because Means has not been going deep into games. Yeah. Who do you like on the Yankees? Can we come back with anybody on the Baltimore side?
Yeah, for the Yankees, I mean, it's kind of the usual suspect, right? Suspects we saw last night. What took them 2 at-bats to get on the board with the home run from Aaron Judge. John Means a lot better than was it Alexander Wells, I think, last night.
Yeah, some creative player last night.
Yeah, Means a real player, so you do have that going against the Yankees. But I mean, you still see a high total here, 5.5 runs projected for the Yankees. So yeah, I mean, Judge, Stanton, and Luke Voigt, I guess, would be kind of the 3 top dogs. Gary Sanchez, I think, is one of the better catchers on the slate, 3,800. Not a prohibitive price point for him. And I'm with you, Holden. I mean, John Means clearly a decent pitcher, but I don't think he matches up particularly well with the Yankees because he still gives up a lot of home runs to right-handed power. And his big thing is that, doesn't walk anybody, but the Yankees are patient. And I don't know. I just don't like this matchup for me. And so I'm a little bit higher, I guess, on the Yankees maybe than you are, Holden. But give me the 3 kind of big power bats in the middle of that lineup.
Yeah, the one-offs can always hit home runs. There's no doubt about it.
Yankees are a great team for one-offs, no question.
And just the bullpen. I mean, you're going to get Means, fine. If you score 2 runs in 5 innings off them, there's 4 innings of the bullpen. You're not at home. So you could just crush that way too. Stevie, Yankees, Orioles, anything?
Yankees are in my top 5. I hate to say it because I don't like to play the Yankees. They're always overowned, but it's a good spot. Means, like DC said, just gives up power, and this is what we're attacking along with bad pens. All 5 of the teams that I'm going to use today are against, bottom 7 pens in the league. Orioles clearly the worst in the last month. They have an expected ERA over 7 in the last 30 days, which is awful. So yeah, I think the Yankees are clearly in play. I know. I know. I saw it today and I wrote it down. I had to go back and double check it. it was that bad. But yeah, I mean, you don't get Gallo in the lineup. He's been struggling a bit, so maybe some pinch hit risk there with somebody. But the top 5 of this lineup for sure, I think, are a bit underpriced to be in Camden. This is just a team that we're going to stack against every slate for the rest of the season, I think, especially when they play in Camden Yards. It's just a good spot.
Yeah, there's just a couple of questions from the live chat. Money O wants to know if anyone likes the Indians as a stack. against who is it? Junk is going today.
No,
Jax.
No, yeah, Jax is pitching for Minnesota. Yeah, my issue with the Indians, I consider them. They just fell out of my top 5. Is their 2 best players are 6K, and you don't really want anyone else besides maybe Miles Straw, and they just put Rosario on the IL. So you kind of get a watered down lineup, and they're not cheap. This is when I like to attack spots like this is because you get a shitty team that may be a bit underpriced, but you're not really getting any discount playing Cleveland over like a Houston or a White Sox or something like that.
Yeah, the only discount you're getting is from ownership, which does mean something, obviously, right? A lower owned team's better, but still,
right.
Cleveland has to put up a big number to compete in GPPs, and I'm kind of with you at those price points. I don't love it. Not by any means a terrible idea at all, but not in my top 5 either.
What was it? 7-2 last night, I think the final score was. From the going back to the Yankees and the Orioles, I'm just thinking about this game if I really want to play anybody from there. Since we just Cleveland, Minnesota, we talked about Cleveland, anything Minnesota. Can we just scrap this game? Or is there somebody you want to target from the Twins?
I'm playing Cal Quantrill, so I probably won't be on any Twins here, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some respect for Quantrill, maybe not as much as Stevie does. Polanco would just be the guy. I mean, just so hot, just slate after slate gets it done. But you got to pay for him at 5,200, so I think you can look elsewhere. So yeah, I'm not super high on the Twins either.
Like button. See if we can get to 150. We have set a new record for dislikes at 24. So those of you that you should be proud of yourself. Now take the dislike and put it back on the like, so we don't end up with 300. You know what I'm saying? Let's go with that way. And then the next one is any interest in Ohtani as a one-off from Florida Click. I mean, how do you say no to that? He hasn't been hitting like he was.
It's kind of cold now, and it's tough to pay 6.5K. But yeah, I mean, he's been a good one off the entire season. I changed my hat. Joey Work is on me about wearing the same hat every single show, and I finally changed my hat, and the dislikes just pour in. So
you just caved to Joey Work too. Oh my God. What a pussy.
No, I didn't. I just grabbed a different hat today. But
I cannot believe you caved to Joey Work. That is so weak.
Probably just 24 people that lost to Chief Stacks in their season.
Yeah,
25.
Right.
So
I actually met Joey
28
on Thursday. We had a good time. So
yeah, you had a good time. You and Joey Work.
Yeah,
that's good. He was asked what the most important invention of the last 10 years is, and he said fleshlight. That's the kind of individual that you're listening to and submitting to. It's just disgusting, Stevie Boynton. Anyone from St. Louis? We already broke down the Mets, right? You guys like the Mets, but anyone on the other side? No, because we're all playing McGill.
We're on McGill.
Yeah, so we don't care about that one. Colorado, Atlanta, DC. I mean, the rain. I'm officially off this game. I don't want to look at it. It's getting worse every time I look at it. What are you doing with it?
Yeah, I wasn't big on this game anyway, which I guess is maybe why I wasn't paying as close attention to the weather, but it doesn't seem to be getting any better. I think this game seems like basically a near certainty at this point to at least start and delay, and then I think a PPD is at least somewhat likely. So 12-game slate wasn't my favorite anyway, kind of just an easy move on from it at this point.
Everybody, yeah, that's right, Izzy. Everybody in the chat's talking about Stevie just crushing beers and able to drink more than anybody at RPS. Even JSU hit me up and said, good job. So congratulations, Stevie. You're a true alcoholic.
A lot of practice.
So let's something to be proud of. And then Houston and Texas. I mean,
yeah,
maybe Houston tonight against Ariara. You got a little interest there?
Yeah, for sure. We get a bit of a weakened lineup without Correa and Bregman. They're 10 games clear. I think they're kind of locked into that second seed, maybe. They're definitely locked into that 2-3 series. So I think we're going to see them rotate resting guys. So early in the season, I would have concern with like pinch hit, Correa or Bregman coming in. But something that Dusty's done the whole year is when he gives guys days off, it's a full day off. So I don't have any pinch hit concerns with these cheap guys in the bottom of the lineup. And I think that, that makes them pretty playable. You get a really strong top six, and then Marwin is free. Chas McCormick's free. Not guys that you're usually going out of your way to play, but I think, the matchup's great. Ari Hara's got the highest expected ERA on the entire slate. So yeah, Houston made my top 5 after a complete dud last night.
Do you think the Astros will be popular there, DC?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I definitely think they should be. I love targeting Ari Hara here. Houston right behind the Mets for me in terms of kind of where I wanted to go for stacks. I think I'm just going to play the one lineup, so going mostly with the Mets, but Houston would be right there for me as well. Ari Hara just has not been good, right? I think at this point we haven't seen that much of him at the big league level, but I've seen enough to want to stack against him almost every time he pitches. That's going to be true of the Astros. Yordan Alvarez leads the way, but I think most of the players in that lineup, specifically the top 6, all look really good to me. Maybe McCormick at the bottom as well.
A cheap outfielder you can just pick from them.
Sure.
Yeah, you can play Chas, you can play Myers. Myers has been really good.
If you can find the 1200, I prefer to get to Myers, but
yeah.
So you're just on McCormick. Stevie, do you like McCormick, or is it just the price tag is all the only reason?
I don't love him, but he's cheap, and if I'm 5-manning, I have no issue using Chas. Okay. Would definitely play Kyle Tucker. I almost went a whole Houston breakdown without talking about my guy. Finally priced up to 5K, just on an absolute tear. I think he's hitting almost 400 over the last month. Just an awesome player.
Good. Like button, that'd be terrific. There's a red button down there if you'd like to subscribe. Even if you gave us a thumbs down, go for it, man. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We got such great stuff out there. I see Uncle T is in the chat right now. Last night, he begged people to notify him or at least congratulate him on his birthday. He's turning 61. And I think it's BS, but that's on the Wishbone Pod. You want to check out the Wishbone Pod? It's on YouTube or your favorite podcast provider. We had a really good show this week. Even Big T hit me up this week. Go, good job, kid. Good job. Way to go, even though you're older than me, kid. Next game to get to, gentlemen. How about the Angels and the White Sox? So, DC, the White Sox against Junk. I mean, we got Jax and Junk, 2 of our favorite pitchers to just beat up. Is anybody out the circle of trust here? Like, who would you not play from the White Sox?
Maybe Lurie Garcia, but he would be just about it in terms of guys I would want to avoid. What's that?
Goodwin?
I'll play him. I mean, 2,600 for Goodwin. He's got a little pop from the left side, so I think he's an okay play. Yeah. So, I mean, you got to like the White Sox here against Jansen Junk, which describes his pitching arsenal, I think, fairly well. He's got it. I don't need to elaborate on what he's throwing up there. So give me these White Sox guys. You see a team total between 5.5 and 6. We know the White Sox have big power. I think you'll see a lot of people go to the White Sox here. I mean, they're relatively inexpensive, right? Like their top priced guy is a catcher, Yasmani Grandal. So you can skip him if you want. I mean, you could play 5 White Sox and then play Salvador Perez over Grandal, right? Something like that if you wanted to get weird. But I also think the fact that Grandal's arguably the best catcher play, throw in a high team total, and then it's easy kind of build around a catcher, right? That's like the easiest position almost to build around in some ways, because it's a position you want to get out of the way when you start building your lineups most nights. And I think that's true tonight. So I do think the White Sox probably the highest owned stack, I think, maybe outside of, or maybe close to the Yankees, but rightfully so. I mean, Robert, Moncada, Abreu, Grandal, Jimenez, like you said, holding all these guys are I think really, really, really strong plays. So no argument with the White Sox. Really, the only argument against them is ownership, and we don't even know that for sure, right? So that's not always the strongest reason to fade.
No. All right. Stevie.
Only downside is there's no Tim Anderson, which stinks. They'll probably nurse him along, because they don't want him to get hurt again before the postseason starts. But yeah, the top 5 here, are all hot and they're all too cheap. Luis Robert, one of my favorite players in the league, he's super hot right now. Gonna have a tough time not using him on this slate. Yeah, White Sox, I don't know, top 2 or 3 stacks for me on the slate, probably.
And Nikki C in the chat, Perez or Grandal, DKGPP?
Grandal for me.
Yeah, really
thing?
close.
Gets a much better park, better matchup.
I think Grandal has a higher floor. Like if you just say who's going to score more fantasy points tonight, I would definitely go Grandal. But it's hard to argue with Salvador Perez is like 25 dongs on the year, right? And
yeah,
so, I mean,
Grandal's hot though. Like last couple weeks,
I love Grandal too, but I just saying.
Yeah,
like,
since Grandal came back from being hurt, he's hitting 426 with an 872 slug. So that's as hot as they come.
Too. Yeah, I like that. I kind of like that Grandal Eloy little 4 or 5 stack there. Like,
yep.
I don't necessarily because Grandal draws a ton of walks too, right? So you need someone that can drive him in. Certainly, that's Eloy.
Yeah, Uncle T, of course, in the chat. Get your old ass on here if you can figure out how to use the computer and come on a show. That'd be awesome. We'd love to talk to you here before the end of the show. We're down to our last 3. Stevie, Oakland, Kansas City. We just had a question about Salvi, but do we want to bother going up against Hernandez, really, with Oakland? Do we want to bother with that? And then on the other side, is there even who can we play from Kansas City against Manaya?
Yeah, so
is Witt in play?
I think Witt's always in play.
Yeah.
Anytime he's priced under 5K, we've seen him a bunch the last couple of weeks, kind of go off by his own. If he gets on base, I think he just crossed 40 bags on the year. So always a threat to steal. So I'm playing some Carlos Hernandez here. Don't have a ton of interest in Oakland in the huge park, even though they smashed last night. They're just, they're too expensive, I think, for the spot. I mean, you're basically paying the same prices as you are as, if you were playing the Dodgers. So definitely not playing Oakland over the Dodgers tonight. I think I think that the Dodgers are different enough. And I think that we're on a couple different starting pitchers in the field are too. So no interest in bats on this game, except for, like we've talked about, possible one-off, with a Witt or a Salvi in tournaments.
Okay. DC, you got anything on this one here? Oakland, Kansas City?
Not a ton here for me. I do think Salvador Perez is a good pivot off of Grandal today. I think Grandal, I could be wrong, but I think Grandal will have significantly higher ownership than Salvador Perez on this slate because so many people are going to stack the White Sox. Almost nobody is going to stack the Royals. So that pivot makes sense to me. I will always mention Matt Olson. I mean, just a great one-off each and every night. That holds true tonight. Not many people are going to be on really anyone from this game, especially the hitters. Maybe some people will play Manaya. If you wanted to get different and go with the Royal stack, I don't hate it. I mean, Merrifield, Perez, Santana, Mondesi, right? There's upside in almost all of those guys, either power or a lot of speed in the case of Mondesi and Merrifield. So that makes some sense, but overall, a game that I don't have a ton of exposure to.
All right, guys. Like button, thumbs up. 2 of them, as JJ would say, as Mangone likes to fake. Hey, did you know Mangone's moving out here, DC?
Is he?
Yeah, we're doing a show today, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I'm coming out to Colorado." I guess he's moving out here.
Where's he moving? The Denver area?
He's moving to Parker, and he doesn't have a pickup truck, so I feel like he's in a lot of trouble. It's going to be a little different than New Jersey, isn't it? In Parker.
Yeah, it could be. Mangone will be just fine. He'll be fine. The 3 of us will get together. It'll be great.
Where the hell is Parker?
It's in the country.
Yeah.
It's not really in the country, but it's kind of in the country.
He drives his Prius out there.
Yeah. He cannot drive a Prius and get away with it. No. There's a lot of pickup trucks. Not that there's anything wrong with that, is all I'm saying. Thank you, Nick. Nicholas Story, wonderful, absolutely wonderful thing. Terry Niehaus, if you want me on, send me a link. You have 2 minutes. Bite me, Uncle T. You know, this show will be fine without you. I gave you the.
No, we need to get Uncle T on.
If you don't want to find a link on your own, all you have to do is ask Simon. But if you want to chicken out, that's fine. I was just giving you an opportunity to beg everybody for birthday gifts for your 60th, which is coming up next Tuesday. You know, it'll be great. What else, boys? We got 2 more games left, so let's get to those. San Diego, San Francisco, Stevie. I mean, really? One off, maybe? What do we want to do with Musgrove?
Yeah, so we were on San Fran last night. They had a decent game, hit a couple bombs, had a couple innings where they had guys on and let down a bit. This is one of those weird games for me, DC, where I'm not really on Musgrove, but I don't want to stack the Giants. I think I'm kind of like in no man's land here with the bad park, and I don't really believe in Musgrove in the spot in a tough matchup, but I don't think that he's going to get absolutely shelled like we have spots with Lester and Junk and all these other spots.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have really anybody from this game. I wasn't really close to. No, I mean, I really wasn't close to putting anyone from this game in my lineup. Like, I didn't do the playbook today, but I can say pretty confidently that like there wouldn't have been a lot of guys in this game near the top at any position. So just not a game I'm on in general. Giants and Padres, decent enough pitchers, decent enough bullpens where it's hard to go to the hitters in the stadium, given some of the other options tonight. And then I don't really like either of these pitchers either. So yeah, mostly stay away from me.
Knapp is going off a yard off of Mills tonight. Okay, Saggy. All right, Saggy. That's good. Jay Frey wants to know if he could play Jose Ramirez, or is he too overpriced on DK?
No, definitely in play. He's fantastic. I mean,
he's been a bit cold lately.
A little bit overpriced, but that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so we're fine with him. We're not going out of our way.
Always fine with him.
JSU's core is almost there. Oh, I'll say this, DC. He loves your 2 guys. So I already see the picture starting to build here. If you've been watching the show, you can kind of guess as to what DC and JSU are on. Last game, since Stevie just first thing he says to me, Dodgers, look out for the lineup. You know what, Stevie? Take all the time you need to talk about the Dodgers because we got plenty of it.
Yeah, they've showed signs of life for the first time in a couple of weeks, the last 2 nights. They get Arizona's pen behind Merrill Kelly, who has pretty historically wide like home road splits. Been a pretty good pitcher at home throughout his career, but just awful on the road. Coming off an extended month-long COVID absence, and now steps into at the Dodgers, who are going for a big sweep tonight. Battling the Giants with the second worst bullpen in baseball behind him. That's been a theme of basically every team that DC and I have talked about today. We're attacking these shit bullpens in September. And that's not going to stop tonight, especially when we've got, 4 or 5 teams that we think are in really good spots anyways. You just add the bad bullpens behind these pitchers as a cherry on top.
DC, the Dodgers.
Yeah. I mean, fantastic way to go. Giant favorites in this game, minus 360. Man, Giants.
That is wild.
Yeah, huge favorites here. I think it's justified. I do like this offense. Merrill Kelly's okay. Like, there are bad pitchers to target, but mostly they're not against the greatest offenses on the slate. So, yeah, I'm in on the Dodgers here for sure. 5.5 team total. There'll be a lot of people that go that way, and it's not particularly hot in Los Angeles, so maybe you're worried a little bit about that. But I think they do damage against Kelly here. Still one of the strongest lineups in baseball. And, you get that late night hammer. So, go Dodgers.
All right, guys, you want to get in the chat and ask us some questions? We'll absolutely do it. If you are on the free side, we'll take your questions as well. So we'll finish out the last 15 minutes.
You going to say hello to me, or what are you going to do?
Huh?
You going to say hello to me?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, where is he? Hey, Uncle T, found a link.
I've only been sitting here for 5 minutes. I mean,
look at that. How'd you do it, Uncle T?
Well, I mean, Stevie Boynton sent me the link. Simon sent me the link. I think DC may have sent me the link. I mean, everybody but you. Everybody but the big donkey.
Pretty easy. We want to plug the pod so we.
No, I
can
want
get
to. I want to pick some winners. I want to pick some winners with you guys.
You don't even want to plug your own podcast, which you're the star.
We can do that at 7:06 p.m.
Right. I agree with Stevie. Let's pick some winners. What do we got?
Let's go. Pick your winners. Who you stacking? Who you pitching, my man?
Yeah, I like a lot of the pitchers these guys mentioned. I did the playbook earlier, and I like a lot of these guys. I like McGill. I'm on Urias with you guys. Ranger Suarez, DC. You and I have been on him quite a bit. Actually, you got me on him maybe about 3 weeks ago, and boy, he's played. He's pitched some good baseball, and at the price, he's probably going to be popular. But boy, at that price tag, I can't turn that down against against his Cubs team. So so I'm all in on those guys. And the fourth guy I don't know that you guys liked him as much, but I do like Sean Manaya tonight. I got burned with the guy last night. Who was the guy last night that got lit up?
Frankie Montas.
Montas. So but no, I don't mind going back there. I got a very condensed pitching pool tonight. I'm just going to kind of rotate those 3 or 4 guys I just mentioned and try to find some sticks around them.
That's your pitching. Who are you stacking?
Yeah, stacks tonight for the playbook. I think I've got the White Sox and Yankees as my top 2. Those won't be much of a shock, I don't think. Some of the guys I like teams off the radar are a little bit. I love the Mets call. I think both you guys were on the Mets. I really like them tonight quite a bit. I'm mixing them in. I've got 5 builds tonight, and I'm mixing them in 3 of my 5 builds. That's how much I love the Mets tonight. And then I also like a little some of these Phillies as well. So I don't like the full stack these Phillies, but maybe a 2 or 3 man secondary stack. And I was really high on Houston coming into the day, and then like you guys mentioned earlier in the show, Bregman and Correa out just really waters down this lineup. So I do think you'll get them a little lower owned than you would have earlier in the day. So if you want to play that angle, but I'm probably going to pass on the Astros, and it might burn me. You got some cheap guys at the bottom of the stack that these guys mentioned, and they could easily crush. This pitcher for Texas is just terrible. But again, we can't play everybody. They did make my 6th team on my playbook today, but I probably won't be one there.
The Dodgers, no Dodgers.
Oh yeah, I did have the Dodgers. I'm sorry. The Dodgers were my number 3 on my stack tonight. Yeah, and I really like them, and I've been trying to work them into my late night hammer situations the last couple nights, and it just hasn't paid off. We're buying into the cheap Gavin Lux down there in the 7 or 8 hole. Bellinger's been awful, and I've been trying to work in some those 2 guys with a couple higher price guys. It just hasn't worked out, but I feel like I'm pot committed at this point. DC, I think maybe you or Stevie, one of you guys mentioned, I just think they might have one of these breakout nights, one of these times. I just don't want to not be on them after I've been, again, kind of pot committed the last week or 10 days.
They can only hurt you like 18 more times this year. That's not that much money. So you just keep rolling out there again.
Yeah, the one thing to add on to Houston, Uncle T, that I mentioned earlier with the cheap guys is I don't think that they're going to get pinch hit for. Usually Dusty will give like the full day off to the starters, just kind of rotate those. So at least we don't have those concerns. You play the cheap guy and he gets 2 at-bats and then Correa comes in. So at least we have that.
That's a good call.
DK locks? What does that mean, OS? You want the lock picks? Is that what you're asking for? Hey, big Uncle T. I keep calling you Tony, man. It's really weird. Uncle T.
Don't do that.
Would you even throw Gavin Lux in there in a stack at this point? He's cheap.
He's in one of mine for sure. Like I said, I might not be the right guy to ask about this Dodgers stack because it's a terrible way of looking at things. But we're 5+ months into this baseball season. We've been grinding. I'm not going to not be there when maybe Lux or Bellinger or a Dodger stack is going to get there. I'm just not going to do it. I don't play a ton of teams, but I do have 5 or I think I got 6 teams tonight. I'm not going to be not there when these guys maybe double dong and I'm not there to kind of reap the rewards of it. So.
I'm just glad I forgot to check. We had a good Gavin Lux discussion with Mr. Titletown yesterday. Glad to see Lux when it had another 0 for 4, another zero burger for
God, he's been bad.
Titletown. Yeah.
I don't know why.
I gotta disagree. I don't know why people are still playing Gavin Lux. Listen,
it's tough,
man. I mean,
well, why I'm playing him, DC, is because you kind of need the salary relief, and he's in a stack that we think could go off at any time.
It's a cheap 0. I'll give you that. It's a cheap 0.
Yeah, he can give you 8 or 12. As
on a good night, he can give you 8 or 12.
Yeah.
I mean, the First time I baked this year, I had what's his name, Ha-Sung Kim from the Padres. You know, he gives you a lot of zeros, but you know, I think he gave me like 9 or 11 that game. And it was good enough as part of a full stack.
Let me bring up here's a question for you, because DC, you and I discussed Brian Goodwin just a little bit. You're stacking the Dodgers. You got and they're not fair. I think they might be priced the same at 2600.
Goodwin's the answer. Give me Goodwin over Lux.
Just get Goodwin. So Uncle T, would you be willing to do that? Just get Lux out of there and put Goodwin in there just because Lux suck, or you're just
no. I mean, I've White Sox I'm really high on as well, but my cheap guy on the White Sox, and he was with my stack 2 weeks ago when I shipped that tournament, and I was off of him the last couple times, and I don't know why I was, but Gavin Sheets.
Yeah,
that's our guy. He's first base outfield eligible. He's in that same price range, 2.9K. So for me, I get the good one called, no problem with that, because he's got a little bit of pop, but I'd rather go up to Gavin Sheets in the 6 hole and grab him instead.
Yeah, I'm flipping through it right now. That's kind of, all these Texas bats are so cheap, like Peters, but there's no way you want to target Urquidy, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
Urquidy doesn't have the length right now, but yeah, it's tough. The Houston pen has showed up a bit lately after struggling for a while. Not a ton of interest in Texas bats today overall.
AP in the chat saying Zimmer over all those dusty cheap guys. What do you think of Bradley Zimmer, guys?
Solid play.
Yep.
Solid
he's hitting
play
in the
tonight?
2-hole. Yeah, he's super cheap. I think I have a couple Zimmers in my 20.
Craig Hensley, who can I fade in the Dodgers top 6?
Let's take a look.
Mookie Betts, if you don't have the salary, sheesh, that's a tough question, man.
I like the Betts fade just because he's leading off, right? So he can, make that first out of the game. The rest of the stack goes off. He's got to hit. Then he's got to hit behind the pitcher the rest of the game, or at least
maybe Justin Turner, because I think he's got the least power out of the top 6 against righties. I wouldn't fade Muncy. Him and Seager are the two guys who are really hitting right now.
Yep.
And then Will Smith, like we've said all year, is a better hitter against right-handed pitching. So yeah, I think it would be Turner or Betts if you had to fade one in the top 6.
All right, Kenny Goodpeople he's freaking out here. He needs to know if Quintana's pitching tonight. Is Quintana pitching tonight?
He's not starting. He's supposed to come in after the Giants opener, but we know how that goes sometimes.
How does that go sometimes?
Sometimes they come in, sometimes they don't. Depends on how the game's going,
Because Kenny wants to roll Tatis out there because he's going to hit a home run.
Well, especially with the Giants competing down the stretch. I mean,
they have to win these games.
They're not obligated to tell anybody who's going to come in after that starting pitcher, right? You got to list your starting pitcher, but beyond that, you could.
It's a good point.
Try to play some mind games if you want to. I mean, at this point in the season, it would be smart for the Giants to try to, pull one over the Padres if they could.
Uncle T, last piece for DFS 023, Pilar or Conforto? And thank you.
I mean, I think that's pretty easy. I would go Conforto. I mean, it is, let me go up and find it here. Wasn't that lefty? Yeah. I mean, it's lefty, but it's John Lester. Pilar does have a chance for a pinch hit risk, maybe in that 6th or 7th inning. If they get a right-hander in there, they've been pinch hitting for Pilar in this situation. So for me, it'd be pretty easy. I would go Conforto if you've got the. I mean, they're what, $500 difference. So if you've got the salary, I would go Conforto. Yeah,
Conforto's finally hitting for the first time all season too.
I mean, I like the power upside against a awful lefty and Lester. That Pilar does have a little pop. So if you need the savings. You know what I mean? I would go Pilar. If you can get to the other guy, Conforto, I would go there.
Ooh, AP's broken out the whiskey 7 tonight. Good job, AP. I have no idea what that is, but it sounded fancy. DC, CC Kings, DK single entry, Abreu Moncada or Alonso Villar. He's playing both the Mets and White Sox stacks. Good question.
That's what I'm playing too. So good luck to you, sir. But
we're already drawing dead. We're all playing the same team.
Anybody have an answer to this tough question?
I'll go for the Mets side.
No.
What was the what was the question? Abreu Moncada or Alonso Villar?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a bunch of teams with both of those 2v2s. I think that Alonso VR will be way lower owned. But like Abreu's is too cheap. He's 4-2 at home. He's been smashing at home all season. I wouldn't be mad at you for using either of those.
I think Abreu is one of the most underpriced guys on the slate
for sure. 4-2, man, that's just way too cheap for him at home.
Kyle wants to know the best GPP catcher on DK. Is there any one-off catchers you guys are playing tonight?
Catcher.
I think the best GPP catcher is Salvador Perez. You're just going to get him at lower ownership. His upside's so much higher than anybody else's, and I think he's a good pivot off the chalk Yasmani Grandal because he's just $200 or $100 more expensive than him. So
yeah,
I don't mind James McCann 3.1K against Leicester in that game either.
Yeah, those two and Will Smith I think are good tournament catchers.
Garrett Mendenhall, DK GPP, better mini stack and a GPP. Yordan and Tucker or Judge and Stanton?
I mean,
really, really strong options. I take the Yankee side, just better park, worse bullpen even. But I mean, four awesome plays right there.
Yeah, I like that. Uncle T, you got some final thoughts on the slate, buddy? Because we're coming up. We got about 2.5 minutes to lock. What's your final thoughts on the slate, man?
No, I hope it goes. No, I think I like the slate actually. You know, I don't have any of that Atlanta game, so I'm hoping it rains out. But you know, if it doesn't, clearly they're going to play through some kind of rain for sure, even if it's a steady, you know, mist or whatever. So, you know, I don't have any of that game, and I've got quite a bit of, you know, what we talked about. So the pitchers tonight, I think if my pitchers can crush tonight, I'm really happy because last night my pitching pool did not fare very well last night for Uncle T. So hope these guys do a little better tonight. McGill, Manaya, Suarez, and then Urias. Those are the 4 guys I'm riding with.
Oh, it's Robbie Clemente day too. What a stud. Wish I could have seen that guy play. Stevie, are you playing a late slate tonight, perchance?
I am. My fiance is going out for a girls' night, so you know I've got to start prepping for my next drinking battle with AP. You know, I think that starts tonight. So yeah, I'll be firing at the late slate, especially since I love the Dodgers so much tonight.
You have to prep to get in a drinking contest with AP, huh?
No, I'm making a fucking joke, Holden.
Oh, I didn't get it. I did not understand it.
No, yeah, I gave AP the next time we meet 4.5 drinks when we meet. So, you know, I think the line might be a little light. Honestly,
I want an invite to a drink off. That's right up my alley. So
yeah, let's do it.
I don't want to give out too much of what I heard from the rumors. Are we at lock, by the way? Are we any more questions?
Lock doesn't matter.
We don't have any more questions. Yeah, if we got a minute or two. Yeah, I don't want to give out a whole lot of what I heard from the rumors from the weekend, but I did hear one thing. Stevie Boynton can put on a show drinking, so I got to give it up to him. I wasn't there, but I heard he absolutely put on a show. So if he's giving 4.5 drinks to somebody, I might want to be on the sharp side of Stevie.
But AP always drinks. Like every night he drinks, right? So how is he not going to hang out with Stevie here?
Having every 2 or 3 each night's different than like a volume binge drinker.
Okay, so he's casually having a whiskey or 2 a night. You, on the other hand, are like 14 to 15 shots minimum, and you're giving him 4.5
each and every night. Yep.
Oh,
Steve's putting them back.
Steve, when did you ask your girl to marry you? By the way, was that recent?
No, when we moved to Chicago.
Oh, so you guys have been fiancés for a long time then.
Keep her away from Holden.
Oh, no doubt, but still.
Well, no. Introduce her to Holden, then she'll think you're even better than you are. It's great,
right?
I don't know, man.
What did you guys catch the earlier show with Mangone? Did you see Mangone all nice and clean cut and everything? Got the new haircut?
I missed that.
I did not see the show, but I did see a Twitter.
Someone put a screen grab in the chat.
Yeah.
I mean, he was trying to compete with Holden. Looked like Holden's weave. I mean, nice and like Pat Riley kind of got the gel and everything.
He had the quaff going.
Yeah, we're live. Uncle T, thanks for hopping on, buddy. I do appreciate it.
As much as I like shit on Holden, his hair is exquisite. And Mangone is not competing. No,
he's got. It's no battle. You know, Stevie took us out the last week, and it was very awkward. So, DC, why don't you do us the honors today?
Simon, get us out of here.